iRacing.
There is something so wonderful about this championship that you just have to watch to believe. This is where the future of motorsport is. And it starts with the series that is the future of motorsport. You cannot ask for a series that puts together every single aspect and goes, right, this is where you start your career journey to build yourself to be the best. 3 drivers at the end of this championship are going to book a place in the shootout. A winner of said shootout is going to get a full season with the Skip Barber Racing School and their open wheel championship. This is the Skip Barber Racing School Formula iRacing Series, and it's here at the season opener where everything is bigger. We're at Austin, Texas, at Circuit of the Americas. My name's Shakespeare, Joey Atterbury alongside with me for the ride. Joey, this is simply put where the big boys play. This is a championship which says you go out there, you put your best foot forward, and in each of the last 2 editions of this series, we're in our 3rd edition now, a driver who's been inside that top 3 has gone on to win the Skip Barber Racing Series Championship.
I think it's what we all want to see, is that sim to reality story of how do we actually get into a race car. Well, Skip Barber Racing School, that's exactly what they're providing all of these competitors right here, is the chance to actually get out of that sim rig and into an actual real Formula 4 race car out at Virginia International Raceway, out at that shootout, to potentially gain that whole 2025 season. A pretty dang cool thing, if you ask me.
It absolutely is, and we are in for a showcase. It is 5 race weeks. It is 10 championship rounds, but it starts here at Circuit of the Americas. And let's get an understanding of what makes this circuit one of the biggest, and some would say one of the most divisive circuits in the world, with our track guide.
Welcome to Circuit of the Americas. The cliche of everything's bigger in Texas rings true for this track in the Lone Star State. Built specifically for Formula One, the number of corners, circuit length, safety features, and general track amenities immediately set this place apart from almost every racing course in the United States. Of the 3 layouts available, the most widely used is the Grand Prix circuit, which tops out at a whopping 20 turns along nearly 3.5 miles. Many of them have been modeled after well-known sections of European tracks such as Silverstone, Hockenheim, and Istanbul. But compared to those venues, this place still has lots of unique challenges. Turn 1 in particular features the largest elevation change from the lap and culminates in a blind and sharp hairpin. The penultimate corner is just as tough, with its off-camber apex and sudden drop forcing many to escape to the paved runoff on the outside. And though it was meant to lure F1, many other series have now raced here, ranging from IndyCar to WEC, IMSA, and even V8 supercars. Track days are also common, with the SCCA running all types of amateur events to allow up-and-coming drivers to feel what it's like to battle on the same tarmac as Vettel and Hamilton have. With this track, American race fans finally get to experience a purpose-built course made in the modern day. Texas went bigger and better, and in the process, raised the bar for their peers.
Well, they say about this circuit being one of the most divisive tracks out there. It's a track which takes a little bit here and a little bit there, and it creates a circuit that some drivers absolutely love, Joey, and some drivers absolutely hate. They've got that massive run up the hill towards the big red, the opening corner on the track, but it's that inspiration of the early sector that you've got, and then overtaking opportunities in the middle, and the arena finish to the lap.
It's got a little bit of everything at COTA, Circuit of the Americas, as you take a look at the track map. 20 turns and 3.427 miles long. And I agree with you, Jake. You have to manage the elevation of the track, and it starts right off there in turn one with that huge big braking zone, but so easy to overshoot it and go straight up over the crest if you lock it up. And then don't fall behind the track here. It's early in the S's that you can make a mistake, and then you're just in bad news, bad trouble from there. You also have to be confident on the brakes here. You see that long straightaway? Well, there's some hairpin turns on either side of it, not just turn one. So you have to be able to be confident on that brake pedal to go diving in there, gain those potential positions. And remember, stick to the surface here. Don't rack up those incident points from easy off tracks. You want to keep it in the lines.
You absolutely do. And of course, going off the road means you might be finding yourself on Pickle Parkway, which isn't going to be ideal out there on the 130 toll road. But here today, we are here for a reason, and a very important one, because these drivers all have to try and qualify their way through and give themselves an opportunity. They have all got themselves here today by being in this race tonight a one-time $200 credit to the Skip Barber Racing School, which they can use at their own purview. But by championship, you've got to look at the top three overall. They will get 3 days worth of the Skip Barber Racing School coaching program. They will get the entry into the Skip Barber Racing School Formula Car Shootout at the Virginia International Raceway. And if they are to go through that, they will get that opportunity of one fully paid seat. Fourth and fifth will each receive in this championship a one-day racing school as they go through. And let's not forget, we've got individual race prizes going through, which includes the Hard Charger Award, which is for those who gain the most amount of positions from starting grid position through in the race. And that will be a one-day racing school awarded for that. It is a prize pool, Joey, worth roughly, I would say, $500,000 US.
It just shows the investment into the sim community. It's awesome. We were talking about the sim to reality. This is exactly what we're here for, and it's what these drivers want. Not only the opportunity to go out there and race, but I mean the potential for real sponsorship and tangible dollars.
Yeah, and that tangibility of tasting a dream, which so many sim racers have been looking for, is one they are hoping to grasp today. Let's take a look at how we format today's racing and what we have to deal with. This is round 1 of 5. There are 2 races today. We're using the iRacing Formula IR04, a car which is very pliable and the same style of machinery that they will be using in the racing series as they get through. It is 2 races worth of 15 minutes, but here's the key. When you qualify in race 1, wherever you finish at the end of race 1 sets where you start for race 2. If you have a bad race 1, you've got it all to do in race number 2. And one thing, Joey, I think is really important to keep in mind, they're running a fixed setup here today. That is going to mean that these drivers have an absolute equal playing field. They've just got to get the most out of the car today.
And that means that all of the cars, they're absolutely identical. And yeah, the more practice that you do out there, the more you're going to understand what the car can and can't give you. And that is the key. Remember, a car can't just go flat out everywhere. It's up to the driver to understand what that maximum speed per corner is and extract that out of the car.
And they are really looking to try and get the most out of it. They have a 5-minute qualifying session with just 1 shot to get it correct. So if you manage to find an off track around the lap at Circuit of the Americas, which is known for being a little bit tight on that, which invalidates the qualifying lap, it is very difficult to pull all of that together. So getting yourself up near the front is really, really key, and we're expecting those drivers through the hot lap qualifiers to have, with the lower numbers here, to have a really good shot of moving forward. Everybody is just about over the line. So what we're now going to be able to do is head over in the next couple of seconds over to the first starting grid of the season. And my word, are we going to be in for a treat. We've got an international flair to today's running, and that goes with Victor Miranda on the pole position, with Cody Deeth from Australia alongside Brazil and Australia on the front rows. You then got Aiden Young starting in third, with Leo Ovcharov in 4th position. Following that is Felipe Cabrera and Ivan Machado making up 5th and 6th. Matt Busa is no stranger to this series. He starts in 7th with Nicolas Logalbo in 8th overall. Sergio Ostos will start from 9th with Byron Mitchell rounding out the top 10.
And across the page in 11th is Andrew Moran in the number 11 car. Stephen Cody in the number 16 will start in 12th with Matthew Carr in 13th. Ayush Parsricha in 14th. Jacob Ortiz in 15th. Bryce Rodriguez starting 16th. Shannon Morris in 17th. Park Sanjuin in 18th. Hayden Dewey in 19th. And then rounding out the 20 cars in the opening round is Jackson Foy in the number 19 car.
So, at the back of the field, a little bit of work to do. This is a fast championship with each race being 15 minutes long. You have to have your head on a swivel to know when is the right time to make a move and how you go about it. There are a lot of different styles that go about bringing forward this brilliance of racing that we've got coming up. One thing to note, it's a rolling start here today. So they'll have about half a lap to get themselves sorted out before they really go out and pace, Joey. And I think that half a lap allows a lot of drivers an opportunity to just clear their heads and focus forward on the racing. And I think that's going to be really crucial.
It's purely the mental aspect, is that you've made it here. You've made it through the hot lap qualifier. You're one of the top 20 here for the week at Circuit of the Americas. Now is time to physically put down the visor, even though it's a virtual visor, and get to work, but wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes. You made it here for a reason. You're one of the fastest, and now it's just time to go out there and show everybody what you got.
Look at that track temperature, 125 degrees Fahrenheit. That, in no uncertain terms, Joey, is a scorcher here in Texas.
And when it's that hot in terms of track temperature, you're going to have a lower grip level everywhere. It's not just one particular part of a corner. You're going to have less braking grip. You're going to have less grip at the apex when you really need it out of those front tires. And then even in these slower sections like turn 12 that the leader and pace car is going through right here, when you squeeze that right pedal all the way down to the floor, well, guess what? There's not as much grip driving the car forward. So 125-degree track temperature, that means low grip everywhere.
Well, drivers are still desperate to get some tyre temperature in. You can see a lot of weaving about. It does take a couple laps to get up to speed, but with this half a lap, these drivers are really trying to maximise as much as they can. This final section of road, I think, is going to be rather interesting. We had a fantastic race here, I believe, last year, where it was effectively a train of 9 coming to the line through this section. And this triple right, Joey, I think is going to be the difference maker, especially late on in the race, where they might have to start thinking about the tyres ever so slightly.
I think the most deceiving part of turn 17 and 18 there is this section right here as it feeds into turn 19. You see a slight downhill. It is so easy to get drawn into too much speed as you exit that triple right-hander and actually have to whoa up the car for turn 18.
The iRacing sedan pace car will move into the pit on the inside. Pace in control of the Brazilian, Victor Miranda, who will get everyone into position. 15 minutes and welcome to the season as 2024 looks to decide who is going to make their way to the shootout in the Skip Barber Formula iRacing Series. We are green and immediately we are 3, we are 4. Wide up, big red, looking for opportunity. Miranda on the inside looking to cover it off. Cody Deeth on the outside, holding that line down the hill, will look to challenge. Everybody gets through Big Red okay, but now watch out for the S's, inspired by Silverstone. The anti-cut curbs on the inside could be dramatic. Miranda powering his way to the race lead.
Through turn 6, this long bending right-hander. You got to make sure to have the front tire temperature. Yeah, a little bit of trouble further back in the pack, and there's one car in the wall. I believe that's Stephen Cody, the number 16 car. As you see, the back of the pack still not even single file.
Well, it just goes to show how difficult it is. Cody on his own in the barriers, and that is pretty much day done in terms of race number 1 for him. Now through on the top of the circuit, they now take this roller coaster style descent. Cody Deeth in chase of Victor Miranda, who leads this field. Young there, Aiden Young in 3rd, Leo Ovcharov in 4th position. And look at a defensive line being taken. There's the search to the outside by Cody Deeth, hoping that this pass is going to be enough, but he's now going to look for that cutback. And this is a section of track, this arena section, where he can have 2, maybe 3 cutbacks, because he's going to try and open up here for 16. And this is a corner which you can take 80 different ways.
Yeah, most of the time the shortest distance is going to be the quickest in these cars, and now it feeds out into this triple right-hander we were talking about, turn 17 and 18. You see the front 4 really tucked in nose to tail there, and now we feed it into turn number 19. Make sure not to clip too much of that apex curve. You see it's really big there, and then through a technical turn number 20, already done with lap number 1.
Already in completion then, and the train arguably goes back to Nicholas Lagalbo, who did not get a great start here to today's race. He's down 3. He's in 11th position in this one. You then got a number of little groups. Ayush Pashrika has just dived down into the pits. I've just seen go across me right now as up the hill. Look at this for a bit of 3 wide here in this secondary group. Sunjin Park has a bit of contact. Park almost gets turned around with Matthew Carr taking advantage of that, and Shannon Morris now having to try and battle along in the group that has been detached from the main train.
That was extremely impressive to see the late braking move, and then both of the cars make room for him and not have heavy contact. So I would say that there's awesome amount of respect out there, even if somebody misses a little bit of a marker.
Yep, so Park Sun-jin loses out a little bit then in this group, as this train will now chase up over the crest and now taking the small flick left at turn 10, leading to turn 11 out there on circuit, giving the real opportunity then of where do you make the moves and then setting up the run on the long straight, and people be thinking about the end game. Let's take a little look at the replay then from the start. This is Stephen Cody going through, and Joey, he has the slightest bit of contact here, and that I think just slightly unsettles him through the corner, and suddenly he goes around.
I think you couple it with the opening lap, right? It's cold temperatures on the tires, so not everything is warmed up, and just sometimes you go through there with that full fuel load and not have the grip that you ultimately want. But I tell you what, I've been keeping my eye on this race up front. I think it's really between the front 3, maybe even the front 4. I know that we've got a line of about 7 to 10 cars here, but it seems like that front 3 to 4, they are actually in that slipstream range, and on these longer straightaways, the back half of that straightaway starting to pay off a little bit with that toe.
Matt Buser, in sim racing terms, has seen it, has done it, has written the book. In 7th position, he's looking for 6th on Ivan Machado, but the more that he goes out there and tries to be aggressive, he will lose the draft in front. 1.5 seconds, the rubber band will snap, and Matt Buser cannot afford to lose the draft of the train, or he will resign himself to what's going on at the front. Eyes are so firmly pointed at that front, as Buser will actually lose the place up at Big Red. Diving through goes Byron Mitchell, and he comfortably goes through. Lagalbo as well makes the pass, and Andrew Moran has nothing to fight for with it.
I got to tell you, Jake, up at the front of the field, Victor Miranda, he's actually going defensive in turn 1 this last lap. So it tells me that Cody Deeth, Aiden Young, they all have some speed right behind our leader. And with the fixed setup, remember, you can't have a different wing angle. It's all about maximizing each one of those corners. It looks like we're going to get another replay.
Yeah, this is Bryce Rodriguez, and he is out here in this opener on the wrong side of Lady Luck through the penultimate corner. Oh, the anti-cut curb lifts Park there up in the air, Park Sun-jin, and just like that, he has nowhere to go but into Bryce Rodriguez, who is a passenger here at the opener, and that would have been so unfortunate for him at the off-camber penultimate corner on this circuit.
Our leader fully defensive on the inside of the racetrack. Now Cody Deeth is going to try the over-unders, but he's on the wrong side here entering turn 13. This section is all about the mechanical grip. You can make a lunge here into 16, but our leader easily covers that off by taking the shortest distance around. I think Victor Miranda definitely has got his hands full at the moment.
He does, and he is using his spotter, Jackson Rosenda, with a huge amount of accomplishment at this moment. It's giving him a little bit of insight so he doesn't have to worry as much out there with the likes of Cody Deeth, Aiden Young, and Leo Ovcharov, who has his own spotter in Jeffrey Decker, who is a former pro driver up at the top levels of sim racing and got there with an absolutely beautiful run to get himself into that series. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 at this moment, taking the rise once again, and we're almost at that halfway stage. Everybody is pretty much as nose to tail as it gets. Aiden Young, you would say, is in the popcorn seat at this moment, Joey, because he knows that the moment the top two decide to fight for that race win, he just jumps.
And he does. He's sitting here perfectly, and if anything, Cody Deeth is the one that's being a little bit aggressive inside of this top 5 because he wants to go out there and be in clean air. Got to remember, it's only that black number 2 car that's been out front this whole time, so he's got the benefit of all of the clean air on the front wing. Everybody else behind him, well, guess what? They've got to deal with the dirty air that's being kicked up off of the rear wing, off of the floor, off of that car in front, and then deal with it. It may not be so bad on the slipstream on these long straightaways, but everywhere else, you want the fresh, clean air.
You absolutely do. The hard charger at the moment is Hayden Dewey. At this moment, he's plus 5 places in this race, but watch out here on the front. Is it left or right? Miranda goes to the left, so to the right goes Cody Deeth. Side by side, he now moves right over to the right-hand side of the circuit, trying to open it up. Miranda throws the car in deep. This will allow now the chance for Deeth to run the outside, and he'll try this around the outside because he wants to unlock that inside, but because he's stuck on that outside, he doesn't really have the angle unless he throws it. Miranda blocks him on that inside line, and Miranda, playing an incredibly defensive game here at the front of this field, is having to be so wily with Deeth, with Young, and Leo Ovcharov, who's there in 4th position. This entire group right now is poised for an opportunity of attacking, but it's Miranda who's covering all his bases.
And I think it's going to do nothing but get ramped up because we're well past halfway here, coming to about 6.5 minutes left as they're going to cross the line again. So these races, they click by only being 15 minutes long. I think Miranda, just having that fixed setup, he's going to have to go defensive one more time.
Whoa.
Cody Deeth is really going to push the issue. He thought about making a lunge, forced Victor to go all the way to the inside, and because of it, it's stacked up behind him. I believe that's Felipe making a move on Leo there for 4th.
Yeah, Felipe Cabrera will lose out, though, on the move as through goes Ivan Machado up into 5th position. It was so aggressive by Felipe Cabrera. He got caught up on the inside curb at Big Red, and that just basically tempered the run down the hill through 2 and into 3. And Ivan Machado was not going to take a second opportunity out there to make that happen. So that's good. There is Sergio Ostos right now, who looks behind at Andrew Moran and the likes there of Nicolas Lagalbo in front. 9th, 10th, and 11th. Important points on offer here because you have to qualify each and every week to get yourself into this series.
You just got to stay consistent out there. There's still 5.5 minutes left as this battle for our lead. Look at how close they are, going serpentine down the back straightaway. That's Miranda all the way on the inside. Cody Deeth is the car in the middle. He's going to try to outbrake him going into turn number 12. If he can stick on the long way around, that's going to provide him the inside to turn 13.
Oh, this is big from Cody Deeth, diving at the inside. He's been passive in the battles with Miranda on the straight, who's been more aggressive in commanding his position, and he'll get there, and the door almost slams shut on Aiden Young, putting his nose where some would say it wouldn't belong. But look at this from Cody Deeth. This is a masterclass of defending against a masterclass of attacking. It is unstoppable force meets a movable object through the penultimate corner, and Deeth might try somewhere where you don't often make a move. The final corner, he had a half thought.
Both of these cars, really the entire lead group through turn 19, is starting to get a little bit greedy with that inside curb. I didn't mention in the track map, but we've already seen several cars bounce over those orange bread box curbs. Is once again defensive from our leader. The long way around Cody Deeth, there's not going to happen here. Can he put the power down coming down the hill? No, Miranda just edges ahead.
tyre to tyre. There was slight contact there between them as they start thinking here, top four, what do we want? We want points, obviously, but the prize of winning is going to be huge. And look at how that group has just coalesced together. It is once again 8 at the front for 3 podium spaces. There's no other way to do the math here, Joey. There are 5 bridesmaids.
Agreed, and I think that really the front 3, maybe front 4 have been the class of the field, but when everything is stacked up towards the end of the race and some lunges are being thrown in some odd areas, trust me, oh, there's huge contact! I believe that's 2 cars out down there at turn 11.
It's Byron Mitchell and Leo Ovcharov who have come together. Mitchell completely missed his braking zone and had to find a gap in the middle, and there's the shake of disapproval there from Leo Ovcharov, who was simply blindsided at turn 10.
I've been there before. Trust me, it is never fun when you get T-boned. But look at this race. Cody Deeth trying to go up the inside of 13. He gets the car stopped. Miranda's going to keep the momentum. That's going to be the place to be. I would want to be for turn number 16. I think Victor's going to take the short way around and still be able to defend the lead. But it looks like Cody starting to ramp it up even more.
I tell you what, he was nearly pixel perfect, making that lunge through on the inside. That was as brave can be, and there's a little bit of a bump going through at 18 into turn 19. Cody Deeth is riding right on the limit. Miranda hard again to the inside through the Andretti, which ends the lap, trying to run around the outside. Now he can't overtake on the outside. Now there's a question of whether he gained an unfair advantage by running off the road, and that's what Victor Miranda's going to be thinking about now, trying to climb the hill. But look at how he uses, believe it or not, a side draft to get himself back into position and through on the inside. Deeth can't get there. Watch out. Ivan Machado now down the inside. It's going to take 3rd place.
And we still will have another lap after this one. We're only just now at about 2 minutes remaining, so another few miles here as Victor starts to pull it out just a little bit, kick up all that dirty air on everybody, and actually this is the most the front 2 have been escaped out of that entire top 5. As we look at Aiden Young, he's riding along in 4th place position right now, trying to get himself into a position that he can get up onto that podium. I gotta say, Cody Deeth was struggling to put the power down up over turn 9 that time around.
Aiden Young wants to wear that race suit in the background of his camera at VIR when he gets to October. That's what he's trying to get to, but once more, watch out, because the Deeth and Miranda show is back on in force, all the way to the outside then, and Cody Deeth has just got to try and pin Victor Miranda to that inside. He moves as late as he dares, and he locks up a front and runs wide, which will bring Miranda the chance to go through. Questions again on whether that's clean. Looking for the run around the outside. There is Victor Miranda, who has got everything now to try and dive back once more for the inside. He has been ace through this section. Deeth somehow is able to hold on that slide in 2nd position, but Victor Miranda is driving brilliantly at this point. He is throwing everything at the wall, hoping that everything is going to stick through the penultimate corner out here on this lap, and Miranda, with eyes wide out there at the moment, realizes, Joey, he's got 1 more lap yet.
Yeah, still got 10 seconds left, so we're going to click across to a new lap, so 1 lap remaining, and I got to give credit to Cody Deeth because he's left so much room on the inside for the leader, but now that it's the last lap, I wonder if things are going to change. Here comes the look into turn 1, beautifully defended once again.
It absolutely was beautifully defended. There is Victor Miranda, Cody Deeth, Ivan Machado, who is up 3 places in this one. Shannon Morris is having a great race. Hayden Dewey up 9 spots, your hard charger. But on board with Machado, who runs himself now through the S's section and realizes now as he takes this big left-hander at turn 7 that here at turn 8 and then up at turn 9, it's about setup. Very easy to get caught out by the dirty air through this section of road. They won't have much of it, but they will have some of it here in this IR04. But now there are looks over to the inside, and Ivan Machado's going to have to be a little bit cautious about it, because now he gets the box seat to this moment of Deeth versus Miranda. Miranda has had the answer every single time they've gone through this section. And watch out, because here comes Cody Deeth, hoping he's got a way forward. And there's contact front to rear once more. That little wiggle told everything. Miranda defending on that inside line, hoping there's no dramas. Big up and under attempt comes along again. He's almost breathless as he now looks around at Deeth trying to slide through on the outside, who finally unlocks that inside line, and Victor Miranda's gonna have to be brave around this outside to unlock the inside, and there goes Cody Deeth. He slides backwards and falls outside of the top 5, trying to be brave, and now Ivan Machado will have 2 corners to attack what has been a truly resilient defense here in this race 1. Victor Miranda with 1 corner left to defend. You shall not pass Victor Miranda. He will come to the line. He will take race 1 from pole.
What a race to open up the season. Even Machado finishing in second with Aiden Young rounding out the podium. There is Cody Deeth. A little bit of shake of the head, a story of what if.
Yeah, Cody Deeth will not be happy about what happened there. He was trying everything to find the moves. There is Park Sun-jin making his way over the line. And the last run is just 15 on the leading lap. Jacob Ortiz will be the last one over the line. But my word, he will be looking at that, will Cody Deeth, and immediately 5 places to drop out there. Stephen Cody. Now, remember, he was in the barriers in the early stages, and this is what he's fighting for. He's there 3 laps down, but by being 3 laps down, he's managed to get the jump on Ayus Peschricha and Bryce Rodriguez. Those 2 places might pay out later on in the season.
We always talk about track position, and track position is everything, whether that means points from going from 20th to 18th, like you were saying, or even just going up that 1 row on the grid to start race number 2. It's all important out there. And the one thing, I know you touched on it briefly, I believe it was the number 20, Hayden Dewey, was our hardest charger in that one, up 9 positions to finish inside the top 10.
Yeah, and that will put him with a lovely little reward for doing so out there. Let's get confirmation of result then here from this opening race then. It's a 2-race format that we've got here today at Circuit of the Americas. Victor Miranda, 16 minutes, 57 seconds, a winning margin of a 10th and 600ths over Ivan Machado, who drove a brilliantly calm race to systematically run through each opponent, just ran out of time for Miranda. Aiden Young will pick up the final spot on the podium with Felipe Cabrera in 4th position, and Matt Busa ever present there in 5th. We've just had things switch over towards the warm-up session. I can confirm it was Cody Deeth in 6th, Nicholas Legalbo 7th, Sergio Ostos in 8th position with Shannon Morris and Hayden Dewey rounding out the top 10 with Moran Carr, Park Sun-jin, Foy, Ortiz, and then the drivers a lap down or further of Charov, Mitchell, Cody, Peschricha, and Rodriguez making up the top 20. But Joey, you have to have a short memory in this championship, because you've got to go from one race to another race, and you have only 5 minutes to basically decompartmentalize.
It's just how racing is. You got to hurry up and then wait, hurry up and then wait. This is kind of that wait session, but it's time for you to kind of take a breather, if you will, take a sip of water and look at your notepad. I know you're not physically taking notes while you're out there racing, but I guarantee you learned something that race. So look back on it. If you need to look at the replay, analyze the replay from a chopper view, from a blimp point of view, so you can see exactly where those cars were when the move was made, or where you think you can gain a little bit of a benefit based on where others are racing. But I think that this 5 minutes, yeah, it's relatively short, but it's a good kind of refresher that, hey, if you're going to go into the next session, look at the data, look at what you can do to make yourself faster.
Now, we talk about this series being an individual series, that nobody is on a team with anybody else. It's just 20 drivers, and it is your best foot forward to try and book your place. But you do have to talk team when you talk Victor Miranda, who took that race 1, because you've got to talk about the fact here, Joey, that he is part of Tony Kanaan's esport team. and the wealth of resource that you have in basically Mr. Indy 500, Victor Miranda has a lot of experience he can tap into.
It's pretty cool to be part of those big teams, and not only the access of what all you get to race, but just the knowledge that's out there to be able to pick the brain potentially of Tony Kanaan and all of those famous racers that are essentially passing down the knowledge from the real world into the sim world. It's pretty dang cool.
Let's take a look back at what happened then in that race number 1 and what was so crucial to... They started this season with an absolute firecracker, Joey. 4 wide they started, going up the straight into the opening corner.
And it stayed pretty clean. There was one car off here at the beginning at the S's, but it was just a huge train pretty much for the entire top 8. We had multiple sections of 3 wide. This was early. I believe this was Park going up through the middle. And trust me, the action did not stop there.
Absolutely it didn't, and there was Park Sun-jin again getting involved. The anti-cut curves proving mighty. That was the end of Bryce Rodriguez out there in that opening race. He'll have to go from 20th position to make that charge forward out there on circuit. And then this was on the opening lap, which meant around you go for Stephen Cody, who had a lot of work to do. But this was the main show that we were seeing, an intense close quarters combat between Victor Miranda and Cody Deeth for the majority, if not the entirety, of the race.
And it ultimately came down to Victor Miranda just having the ultimate arm wrestling stance, because he was able to fend off everything that Cody Deeth was able to throw at him. And I thought for sure on the last lap, with Cody getting on the other side of Victor here in this 13, 14, 15 section, that he was going to be able to put the power down. But we saw Victor be able to keep it up around the outside, and ultimately Cody spun up those inside tires here in the next lap, and then just kind of had to settle for what was, 5th, 6th place or something like that.
He tried everything. He used every extremity of the circuit, but Victor Miranda, using the side draft here up the straight, was able to pull back alongside and then just get late enough on the brakes to send the lunge down the inside. And there's Machado back there making that move up into 3rd position down the hill, giving that real sense of certainty out there in terms of the racing. And then the final lap came along and everyone had to be brave. There were a couple lockups here and there. Everybody was scrambling for a position in the final stages, but it was always going to be who was going to stay the strongest out there in their runs, who was going to put their best foot forward. And that is something that I think we saw with Victor Miranda, proving that he could be the one who could stand up ahead of everyone else. Warm up is just about to find itself complete. We will be heading now to our feature race, which is the 2nd round of this championship. And already those need a short memory. For those who have contact, it's so easy to see that drivers have a lot that they want to try and figure out over the course of this racing. They do know that VIR comes up as the 2nd week of the championship, so they're definitely going to want to be jumping in on that in 2 weeks. But Victor Miranda will once again find himself on that pole position, but it'll be Ivan Machado this time alongside him, with Aiden Young and Felipe Cabrera on row 2. Matt Busa starts 5th, with Cody Deeth going from 6th position, with Nicholas Lagalbo and Sergio Ostos 7th and 8th. Shannon Morris will go from 9th, and Hayden Dewey's made up half the deficit here in 10th position. He's just got 9 places to find, Joey.
And then in 11th is Andrew Moran. Matthew Carr lined up next to him in 12th. Park Sang-jun in 13th, with Jackson Foy next to him in 14th. Jacob Ortiz in 15th. Leo Ovcharov in 16th. Byron Mitchell 17th. Stephen Cody in 18th. Ayush Pastricia in 19th. And Bryce Rodriguez in 20th.
Yeah, so Bryce now is going to have a very, very big run that he needs to move forward, and maybe at the worst possible in terms of his racing, he is going to be looking around going, well, what do I need out of this? I might be in the best possible position to be a hard charger in the Skip Barber Racing School Formula iRacing series. It's the 3rd season of action, and you talk about drivers who have gone on from this championship, Joey, to go on and win overall in the real world. You were talking Elvis Rankin and you were talking Sebastian Weldon. You were talking about two drivers who showed their mettle here in this championship and went on and got themselves everything they could have possibly asked for.
It's a great stepping tool, right? All of these drivers are trying to not only find their way into a real-world race car, but the ultimate goal is to make a career out of it. How do you do that? This is the exact first step that you can do. That's what Skip Barber Racing School is offering right here, is to go out here, compete in the virtual world. If you're good enough here in the virtual world, well, guess what? You get to book your trip to that shootout. If you're good enough in the shootout, well, guess what? Pack your bags, because that 2025 season is waiting. And as you were saying, these drivers right here, all they're looking for is that opportunity. They know they're fast. Look at how fast. They're the top 20 of all of these racers here this week for Circuit of the Americas. They want the opportunity to go out there and show it. That's exactly why they're here.
It certainly is. I really would love to see the weather as we focus on board with Ivan Machado here on the front row, because this weather has played a bit of a part. This track has cooled slightly. We were talking about it was 125 Fahrenheit earlier on, which was 52 degrees Celsius out there. Track temperatures come down in some time, almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon, to 49 degrees Celsius, which I'm not brilliant, Joey, on my, I would say, European to American temperature drops, but you can see that 5 degrees track temperature of drop. That is going to make a difference.
It will. 5 degrees, it's going to make a little bit of a difference. I think what we're going to see most of all is probably the actual lap time delta might be a little bit faster. Now, in terms of the drivers and what they are feeling, yes, it's a number you theoretically should be faster, but I think it's only fractionally faster, so I wouldn't go in with your hair on fire into turn one on lap one just quite yet.
Well, who is going to stop the magic of Victor Miranda here at this moment? Is it Machado who makes his way forward? Is it Aiden Young, Felipe Cabrera, or is it going to be the experience of Matt Busa? 15 minutes left of tonight to try and figure out who's got points and who is the yardstick here today around this championship run. But here at round two, they now get themselves going, and Miranda looking for that launch. They have to wait for the green flag in order to go, and immediately there are drivers thinking, where do I want to go? Aiden Young having a little search to the inside. Miranda covering everything off, has the whole shot once again up on Big Red, and drama's near the back as two go flying off the road on the right-hand side, trying to recover their way back forward. Sergio Ostos then, that's a massive accident then. Up and over goes Jacob Ortiz. Andrew Moran caught up, and Ayush Pashrika has had a horrible week here to deal with at COTA.
Both the number 17 and number 18 cars are going to have to take the long tow ride back to pit lane, but the rest of the field, the top 17, all single file here as we go down towards turn 11 for the first time here in race number 2. The downhill does allow you to carry that little bit of speed, combine it with the draft. You got to be careful, make sure those brakes and those tires are fully up to temperature, and now it's that serpentine draft game down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and already some drivers have made some great progress, especially Leo Ovcharov, who has gone from 16th already up to 9th. That's 7 places in half a lap as they now descend down into turn 12, the prime place today to get it done. One car's going to go a little bit wide down through that section, but that's okay. But at this point, Aiden Young and co all sitting there, all waiting, and they realise this is an end game style race. If they don't battle, they're just buying their ticket to go have a scrap at the end.
And I think I saw problems with Hayden Dewey a little bit earlier on in one of those previous corners, so our previous big mover having some issues as we get a look at the GSRC replay at the top of the hill. This is turn number 1. There's going to be 2 cars off to driver's right, and then as they come back on track, everybody just tries to squeeze in more contact between a couple cars as they enter turn 3 here. You can see how quick it can happen.
Oh, and it's a horrible, horrible moment for Jacob Ortiz, who will be thanking his lucky stars that this is the E-Series and not the actual series, because he would have gone for a roller coaster ride were that to be the case. There is Cody Death, and watch out then Felipe Cabrera, because he might lose out, and in fact he has lost out. Death on the move has got himself up into 4th position with that pass. Aiden Young, Ivan Machado and Victor Miranda to try and chase down. And I tell you what, Cody Death's going to be on a mission, and Aiden Young right now is thinking, well, am I in a position to attack, or am I going to have to start looking behind? At the moment, it's pretty much eyes forward. He's got a little bit of a gap that he can start working with. Look at the way he tries to work up the hill, try and give himself a run against Ivan Machado. He's got a beautiful run, Joey, heading to 11.
Let's see, does he poke the nose? He's going to at least put the car in position, and not too much later on the brakes, but is able to take away that 2nd place position, and now it's up to putting the power down. But once again, Machado is able to put the power down, carry the momentum, and really, it's going to be our leader. Who does he decide to give the slipstream to? You see one car, and now he flips back to the other, making them stay side by side all the way down the back straightaway. And now Miranda actually has to go defensive because he's pulled both cars up into a position that they can pass him side by side for 2nd. It looks like Aiden Young's going to try to get that position.
Yes, but Young still can't get fully there. He wasn't able to get full clearance at 11, and Ivan Machado now trying to work on that outside line to make that pass, sends it deep in on the brakes, trying to go around the outside. Now they can't battle too much, otherwise they'll allow Victor Miranda to break away. Half a second here in this series sounds like it's not much at all, but it's light years by comparison to what we've seen overall in that opening race. So they sort themselves out. So Machado holds against Aiden Young, Cody Death there in 4th position, and now it's all about settling back in once again, and it is 8 drivers once more at the front, with Leo Ovcharov trying to hold. Here's a look at Cody Death, stoic as you like, trying to get as close as possible to the rear gearbox, now trying to find a way up the hill, and that is going to be elementary, my dear Watson. That is a brilliantly plain and simple pass on Aiden Young.
I think that the picture, kind of the face of this race, is a little bit different than what we saw in race number 1. Remember, Cody Death had to start from a few positions back, so that's a really fast car making its way forward. And then also the one that you mentioned earlier, Ovcharov, remember, he got taken out, I believe it was turn 11, about halfway into race number 1. So he's another one of these front guys that finds himself in the middle of the pack. A lot of speed still moving forward right now.
There is Nicholas Lagalbo right now trying to put everything together. He likes to be neat, he likes to be organized. You can tell there that he is trying to play this one by the numbers out there in this race. And on this straight, a beautiful serpentine finds its way forward here on the backstretch at Circuit of the Americas. Watch out for 2nd position, because this is Cody Death now searching for that inside line on Ivan Machado. It's not taking him long at all. It's only taking him a third of the race to go from P6 to P2. Cody Death is back in comfortable territory, but he's got an old enemy to face in Victor Miranda.
Car definitely squirmed as he rolled onto the throttle at the end of the back straightaway here, and yeah, it's time to have the old arm wrestling buddies kind of go at it again. I think it's only going to be another lap before this half a second gap between Cody and Victor is pretty much eaten up, and then it's going to be a repeat of what we saw all during race number 1.
Well, Cody Death is proving that he's got a fantastic turn of cadence here today. He really is proving that on 1 lap pace in these front groups, he is the difference maker. He is the needle mover out there. But he's got a lot of work to do, and so do all these drivers, you would say, inside this top 8, who have everything to go through. Fast lap on the back for the number 1, Leo Ovcharov right now, who, remember, in that opening race would have felt very hard done by, as wide into Big Red goes Nicholas Lagalbo. Ovcharov would have felt hard done by with his contact with Shannon Morris.
Yeah, and it's going to get a GSRC replay here. See what happened to Ostos in the back. This is going down the back straightaway. What I'm going to expect is probably a lockup going into turn number 12 here. It's so easy to do. You really got to make sure to manage the brake pedal and get those markers down. And oh, just a little bit of too much speed. the rear end becomes unstable, whether that was from a downshift or too much brake pedal pressure. Around it went for a half spin.
And that is going to be Matthew Carr going off the road then through the S's. Not often that we see that, and I think he's had contact out there with Bryce Rodriguez. So Rodriguez getting caught up again in something out there, but it's Matthew Carr this time who ends up worse for wear out there. Will correct myself, it was Byron Mitchell who made contact with Leo Ovcharov and not Shannon Morris, but this is Matthew Carr. This is what he's got to deal with here, side by side. Turn 7 is a committed corner. He commits to the inside, but ultimately Matthew Carr, I don't think, was going to be taking a line that would be able to slow him down. There's also a little bit of cutback opportunity from Bryce Rodriguez. Those two really didn't leave each other much space.
This is our lead battle, and if you can count it, we once again have 8 cars lined up front wing to rear wing right now. I do think it is Victor Miranda versus Cody Deeth at the front. However, even Machado there in that 3rd place, he has yet to let go of 2nd place Cody Deeth. I thought that Cody was going to be able to drive right up and maybe be able to challenge Victor a little bit earlier, but I've been surprised by that number 5 car. He has yet to let go of the car in front of him.
Ivan Machado then we see bottom right hand side of your screen, looking out there, trying to work out how do I find my way by Cody Deeth once again, how do I get past Victor Miranda, who has not lost a single lap's worth of running in this race. He's been throwing everything he can at it. In the background, that's Ovcharov going at it then as he tries to pass Legalbo for position, and now they're starting to fragment these groups here. A little bit of 2, a little bit of 3. That's a little bit of contact for Nicholas Legalbo, who has to abandon ship, and through goes Ovcharov.
And Ovcharov is going to really thank that for position right there, move him up 1, but he's now 1.3 seconds back from this top 6 group. So hopefully he can get a little bit of that slipstream and kind of fight his way back, maybe even get a top 5 out of things. As a little bit further forward, I can tell you Cody Deeth took a lunge going into turn number 11, but this battle for what is 4th place, extremely tight. That's to Aiden Young, Felipe Cabrera, and Matt Busa.
Yeah, they're all there, and they're trying to follow this group right now, which goes all the way to the inside, as we've seen so often. There goes Cody Deeth, thinking about what he wants, and just trying to jostle for a bit of room there. Is Miranda on the inside? Can he carry some momentum off of the exit? Cody Deeth, he looks like this is something he does every single day, and he probably does as well. He's part of the 10K iRacing club, and he's just found his way into the race lead. Victor Miranda, for the first time, is on the back foot.
Let's see how he can handle this. Every driver is a little bit different. Some drivers like nothing but clean air out in front of them so they can attack the racetrack exactly how they want. Others don't mind a car out in front. Heck, it provides you a little bit of slipstream to close it in and make a potential passes. We're side by side with Young and Cabrera here. Young is going to hang on to 4th place, but Felipe Cabrera wants to crack into that, maybe even get on the podium if he can catch our leaders.
Yeah, but the issue you got is that they've costed each other a 1.5 seconds, and all of a sudden, they're playing amongst themselves, and it's 3 away at the front. And now you get the look at Ivan Machado going around the outside, hoping he's got an angle down the hill off of Big Red. He'll have the slipstream of Cody Deeth, and Miranda's not going to lose just 1 position. He's going to drop 2. He'll be back in 3rd now with 4 minutes and a second on the clock.
He has not seen any car in front of him. Remember, he started on pole position for both of these races. Now he's staring at 2 cars through the visor. How is he going to handle that? You got to deal with the dirty air from him being kicked up, but I can tell you what, Cody Deeth is setting this sector on fire. Look at him try to stretch it out.
He is really trying to gallop off, and he is the one driver. Everyone else is looking around going, we can't let him run away. He's got pace for days out there in this one. With 3.5 minutes to go, it is up to Ivan Machado and Victor Miranda to go have a challenge for that right now. Your current biggest mover in the field is Leo Ovcharov, started 16th. He is up to 7th. He has gained 9, and I think he wants a bit more, because that is Matt Busa just in front of him, the veteran here in this series, and he can't find a pass on him just yet.
It's so difficult being, call it the third, fourth, fifth car in these draft trains, because you look down at your tack, you're going way faster than you ever have, but you're actually not closing it in that much on the car in front of you, because guess what? That second car has a draft, the third car has a draft, the fourth car has a draft, so it just kind of all trickles down to the back end, to the caboose. You look down at your MPHs and you say, holy smokes, I am hauling, but everybody else has the benefit of the slipstream in front of you as well.
Absolutely, and it's a case of diminishing returns then, because you need to make sure you got the run on the car in front who's going as quick as you are, and then you don't have the ability to jump forward with a top speed advantage and to get that slingshot through on the inside. That's what's going to make this racing difficult. 2 laps to go here at the Circuit of the Americas. It will be a 2-week wait before they head over to VIR for the second round of this championship. But Felipe Cabrera right now sat in 5th position, wants nothing more than to jump up to 4th. By the way, past Aiden Young, who takes the path of least resistance, which makes Felipe Cabrera's challenge a little bit more difficult.
Definitely have 2 packs going on right now. The front 3, which you can see about a half a corner ahead. And then we got this 4-pack all battling for what is 4th place on the racetrack. We were riding along with Felipe Cabrera as Aiden Young desperately tries to hold him off. And Aiden is in that position that the same thing our leader Cody Deeth is in, because he doesn't have the benefit of the slipstream. Everybody behind him is getting towed along, and there was actually a little bit of a mistake out of Aiden Young trying to put the power down. He might be in position to not lose 1, but almost 2 even on the straightaway.
Well, Matt Booster's going to have to make a decision here, and he moves to the inside. It's covered off here by Aiden Young, but now as he takes to the middle, we're 3 wide. Leo Ovcharov, where are you going to go? They've all got to make a decision here, and it's Cabrera around the outside. Runs a little bit wide off of the exit, but I think he's going to take the place here. On that inside line, he will. So he will take up mantle then in 4th place as the official of opposition of the chasing group. Right now, with Young in 5th, Booster now 6th, and Ovcharov in 7th. And Young, unfazed with the mistake, realizes there's still another lap yet.
Yeah, you can still go back up there and get that 4th position. He had a solid result in race number 1, so I think looking at the white flag with Barney this time around, you want to make sure you finish the race here. You've done all this work to get to this position right here. 1 lap to go. Don't let it slip through your fingers.
And that's what Cody Deeth has got to improve on this final lap. Remember, he spun on the final lap of race 1. It put him from 2nd down to 6th. This time, he's at a point of defending rather than attacking. And Ivan Machado and Victor Miranda are looking for magic here in this second race here tonight at Circuit of the Americas, with 2 weeks' time being the Virginia International Raceway. These 3 are looking to be head and shoulders above the field right now, and they'll be staring at their knees and their toes, hoping that they've still got enough fortitude underneath them to go out there and challenge. Deeth has looked fantastic through the Titan twisties, which is similar to that of Silverstone. But look at where the slipstream is. That's Felipe Cabrera, who's gone around and finds himself down outside, now 9th place, down into 10th, 11th, and Booster and co. looking for 4th position on Aiden Young. Everywhere you look, there is something going on. It's now Young versus Booster versus Ovcharov on the straight, but you've got to look at those leaders, because Cody Deeth's not safe, not by a long shot. He's having to go to the inside. Ivan Machado got to go to the outside, trying to find this move. Miranda trying to pick a pocket on the inside. They all cover each other off, trying to get a massive run on that outside track. Cody Deeth low on the inside. Miranda will pick one off on Machado. Will he have an angle to attack Cody Deeth in the final stages? He's got 1 great chance left, and that just might be the Andretti. There goes the search then through the triple right, so similar to Istanbul Park. But Ivan Machado realizes he's got nothing. Miranda has got to find something on Cody Deeth, who has been electric in his pace. Fantastic finding what he's got. There's no look there for Victor Miranda, and Cody Deeth is going to come to the line and take race 2 in a sensational charge forward. Second group comes through. Aiden Young will take 4th, and the rest on back.
Well, Cody Deeth, redemption is the word in race number 2. What slipped through in race number 1 when he potentially made the race-winning move, he was able to secure here in race number 2.
Absolutely fantastic running. Last of the drivers coming over. Cody Deeth gets it done by a slimmer margin, just a 10th and 400th over Victor Miranda, with Ivan Machado rounding out the podium. Aiden Young would be best of the rest, with Matt Busa and Leo Ovcharov finding himself then in 6th position. A great drive up from him. It's then Nicholas Lagalbo 7th, Byron Mitchell recovering to 8th position, 9th belonging to Shannon Morris, and Park Sung-gin rounds out the top 10 overall with this one.
Then in 11th, we have Felipe Cabrera. Stephen Cody finishes in 12th. Jackson Foy back here in 13th. Bryce Rodriguez in 14th. Sergio Ostis in 15th. Matthew Carr 16th. Hayden Dewey finishing in 17th. Andrew Moran, the first car, a couple laps down back here. He did see the checkered flag, though, finishes in 18th. Then, unfortunately, the 2 DNFs at the back of the field included Jacob Ortiz and Ayush Parisha.
Well, I can confirm that for Felipe Cabrera on the final lap, he just got the anti-cut curb. Nothing else was able to go forward there with him, and as such, he drops way back through. But what a cracking showcase of racing that we have just had. We're going to take this chance to jump in with a couple of drivers. I think is going to be the most important thing, and more than anything, I think we're going to have to start with your race winner there from race number 2, which will be Cody Deeth, and hopefully we'll bring him in. In fact, we do have him here right now. Cody, that is a case of having grit and determination from that spin that you had on the final lap of race 1 to come back from 6th position on the grid, charge through the field and win that race. You got to be very pleased with the way your night ended.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Pretty happy with that after the disappointment of race 1. Just happy to get a win and get some points on the board, which is really nice.
So you got those points, which was oh so crucial, but talk about how tough it is out there to get any form of position through, because it looks like Victor Miranda for the entirety of the first race held you at bay. Everyone is pretty close in terms of pace. It's a circuit that does lend itself to that battling style of you can use the slipstream to defend every position and try and attack every position. So for you, was that a case of everyone's really hard to defend? Was that a good run for you out there today?
Yeah, he definitely knew how to defend in that first one, that's for sure. I was bloody trying my hardest and I couldn't get past him. It's really tough, really tough.
Yeah, some tough action there. We'll apologise for any industrial language that you've heard. So, Cody, just very quickly, heading on VIR 2 weeks' time. How are you feeling about that? It feels very similar in terms of a style to here at COTA.
Yeah, I don't mind that track. It's not probably my best track, but we'll see how we go. Should be a pretty close battle there too, so it'll be good fun.
Well, we're going to wish you the best of luck there. Cody Deeth picking up a win in race 2, 6th position in race number 1. Wonderfully constructed. Taking a look down the field, Victor Miranda finished off in 2nd position overall. He stood by with Joey Atterbury.
Well, Victor Miranda, you got to be happy with the results today, winning race number 1 and finishing 2nd in race number 2. How does it feel?
I feel amazing. So hard to race with these guys. And I'm so happy with my performance, with my quali, and both points on race.
You had your hands full, your mirrors full, the entire both races. What is that like from a driver's perspective, and how do you not get rattled in that situation?
Mate, was so hard. Cody was so fast, and I guess he got a mistake on quali, but his pace was so fast, and I tried to defend all turns, mate, but for our happiness, we got the race won.
Well, Victor, thank you for coming out and racing with us, and congrats on 2 awesome finishes tonight.
Thank you so much.
That was Victor Miranda, Jake.
It very much was. I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk to the driver. Third position overall then in race number 2. It was a case of second in race number 1. Ivan Machado here along with me right now. Now, Ivan, a race systematic in race number 1 for you. You just picked them off one at a time, and that got you up into that second position by the end.
Yeah, race 1 was a bit chaotic. I actually messed up in the start. I don't know what I was thinking about, but just missed the green completely. And I had to come on the comeback afterwards. But yeah, it was really fun race, really trying to avoid contact and do damage limitation after the bad start. But yeah, it actually turned out really good, and in the end it was a good result after a bad start.
So a wonderful result for you. That race 2, though, opportunities maybe a little bit more forthcoming there for you, but you 3 managed to break away, and effectively it became a game of positioning for you.
Yeah, I actually thought I was in a good position to fight for the win, but just made a mistake on the last sector, and after Victor passed me, I just said, okay, let's stay with third. Let's not do any crazy things, as the result was already quite good, given how chaotic both races had been. So yeah, I just did a bit of, okay, let's bring it home on race 2.
And let's just talk about how much you love racing, because it's clear over the way you're talking with us right now that you're desperate to have a bit more racing there under your belt. So in terms of what iRacing means for you and the Skip Barber Racing series means for you in terms of how to go forward, how important is it for you to try and get yourself in that top 3 at the end of the season, book your place in the shootout, and try and get yourself a seat for 2025?
Well, right now is the opportunity I have, and I will make everything I can to try and make the most of it. So right now it means almost everything, to try and bring the best results possible and to do the best I can in this series. And yeah, it's just, I find it as the biggest opportunity I have right now to actually make it into a real race car, and I will try to make the most out of it.
Well, we hope that you get very close with that opportunity. Wonderful opportunities there going through. Ivan Machado finding a wonderful result out there, a third and a second, everything that you could possibly ask for, and then some with his drive. So he was able to put together a fantastic showcase worth of action. That would have been everything you could ask for, and then some in the Skip Barber Racing School Formula iRacing series. But Joey, that's just 2 races. We've got another 8 in this season, and in 2 weeks' time, we head to VIR, which will feel very similar to these drivers in terms of the style. You've got that long run along Madison Avenue to give you that attack at the roller coaster. But in reality, you could say it's a lot tougher than what you've got here at Circuit of the Americas, because you've got no runoff.
It's a completely different style of racetrack, and VIR speaks to my heart. It's one of my favorite racetracks ever. It's narrow, it's fast, it provides great racing opportunity when it comes to passing zones and draft passing, and ultimately those climbing S's up over the S's, and then you come up over turn 10 and have to skate the car out and flirt with those track limits. Yeah, it's no longer pavement out there, it's all that grass.
And you can find that with us on iRacing, and that is going to be massive in terms of bringing yourself into the party and into the conversation. Of course, we will be here with some wonderful action over the course of the season coming up, but I want to give a massive thanks to everyone who's been helping behind the scenes to get this one done, and of course from Joey Atterbury, who's been along with me for the ride. Welcome back to the Skip Barber Racing School Formula iRacing series. We are in the midst of a truly great season. We've got the master of defense in Victor Miranda, who for some will feel like a Tony Kanaan. You've got the likes there of Ivan Machado, who will feel for some like an Alex Palou. And then you've got someone like Cody Deeth, who may feel a little bit like a Will Power. Who is going to find their power? Who is going to find their progress? Who will find themselves mastering America's Green Hell? We'll see you in 2 weeks' time, where VIR becomes the next bastion to try and battle.
This is iRacing.